Ladies and gentlemen, we've been covering Gala Games for a while, but it hasn't gotten as spicy as it has today. This is Classy Games, and I want to touch base on the drama because everybody likes a little bit of that today, and maybe it gives a little bit of clarification on things happening within the ecosystem. If you enjoy this kind of content, as always, like and subscribe. But the easiest way to go about this is by showing you the context. So, On-Chain Gaming recently made a video called Gala Games Banned Me. I'm selling everything. Wonderful title, a wonderful narrative here. But here's exactly what's going on here. He touches base on the fact that he owns a metric ton of Mirandus exemplars. There was a playtest, and there were Mayhem rewards where they're giving away 1 million Materium for the tech test. You could go ahead and get Materium for killing goblins. He calls them golems in the video, by the way. You can get up to a $500 USD max to avoid KYC, and then they kind of went back on it. They kind of went back and forth. But the TLDR is that there was a cap, right? There's up to a specific amount in general for going ahead and getting your Materium rewards. So what he decides to do is after it, because he gets a little bit confused and he doesn't understand the rules too well, he goes ahead and messages Gala support and says, "Hey Mal, I'm trying to sign in to my above referenced Gala accounts linked to the wallets above to access the Materium we farmed, and it looks like the Gala accounts no longer exist, and we saved our emails and passwords when creating our accounts, but they aren't working. Did someone disable my Smurf account so we can't get the Materium from our treasure chest?" And so, he's wondering why his accounts got disabled. But here's the problem. He actually went ahead and said, description, I moved my exemplars to a bunch of different accounts as to not max out the rewards, but I think the last announcement says you guys want a KYC on every payout. Here are all the addresses I earned Materium on in the last playtest. So the TLDR is he went ahead and multi-accounted, right? This is clear as day. This is a multi-account. Used 16 different wallets, sent, exemplars on different wallets to bypass the maximum rewards. And there you go. That's exactly what he did. Of course, bypassing something is against the terms of service. And so you legally, you literally have to do this. He has to act on this. If support sends, all the different wallets on there, it's just, you pretty much screwed yourself over is what happened there. And so his accounts get banned. What happens when a Gala Games account gets banned is that you can't get the assets that are in there in terms of the treasure chest rewards. You still have access to your wallet. You still have access to your actual cryptocurrency NFTs. So he didn't get rugged on all his NFTs and exemplars. He just wasn't able to claim all those Materiums that he wasn't supposed to multi-account on, is essentially what happened there. And so the next thing he went ahead and started talking about was the fact that he believes in full decentralization, where creating new accounts doesn't allow you to earn more. You could only earn so much per exemplar. But there's actually a proposal coming up on Gala for founders notes where it talks about the fact that, decentralization is important, but it's also important to kind of cap people that have too many nodes because it's kind of hurting the ecosystem. So, if you have too many nodes, there's a limit on that. If you try to bypass it, then you're probably going to run into a very similar issue. And here's the problem. You can multi-account on Gala Games. There's nothing wrong with multi-accounting for security purposes, and there's nothing wrong with multi-accounting for gameplay, examples. For example, if you wanted a good example of this, I actually play Spider Tanks all the time. I have a deity account. I've played 2,731 matches just on this account. Trust me, I've played more than 3,000 matches. And right now, I'm max deity. So slight flex, but here it is. We actually have multiple accounts that are use code classy. We've got other accounts. But the purpose of those accounts was to play the game. I gain nothing from playing those accounts, right? When you play this game, you have an honor system. And if you play on, accounts with less honor, you earn less. If you play tanks that don't earn much anyway, then it doesn't really make sense for any victory points. If you wanted a good example of this, I have all of my tanks on this account. So I'm earning all of my Silk tokens off of a single account. I have literally all of my NFTs on a single account, and that's why it's perfectly fine to do so, because you're not gaming the system. You know what I mean? You're not multi-accounting for the purpose of extracting as many rewards as possible and bypassing restrictions, right? That's the big problem here. And so they went ahead and he violated terms of service. He got kind of called out there. He says that, I've sold a lot of money and I deserve to have money as well. And I'm a big supporter, so you should give me pretty much special privileges for doing what I'm doing. And, as a content creator, I kind of understand where he's coming from. You know, we have done a lot for the ecosystem clearly, but Gala at the same time has done a lot for the ecosystem as well. If they decided tomorrow to stop operating, then all of a sudden all these Gala videos would mean absolutely nothing. So it's very important for it to be a symbiotic relationship where both people are mutually benefiting. So yeah, there's that. And then on top of that, you know, Jake went ahead and said, oh, it's okay for you to leak our DMs. I'm perfectly fine with that. And Bitbetter says, okay, I'm going to go ahead and do that. And something interesting we saw here was, you know, he talked a little bit about the fact that, oh, you know, I'll slow the, you know, the Web3 gaming token to the moon content, Gala to $1 stuff. You know, I made a lot of videos about the Gala token in the past, but this time's in a little bit more extreme. And then, you know, he tweeted it for good measure. No crypto gaming company supports any of my coin price opinions, but later on, he goes ahead and, you know, gets something from Wasif that says, hey, he asked me to delete a video about why I'm buying Ethereum. His lawyer said, please delete it, right? And so here's the proposal On-Chain Gaming comes up with to settle this once and for all. Our team does really need the funding, especially as many other potential sponsors cut back spending to try and not die in this bear market. But people already trust me less because I make sponsored video for you guys. Even if I'm sharing the same opinions, I would be sharing otherwise. By the way, something to just note here, people take sponsors because they love what they're doing and they also love what they're covering, so they take the sponsor on that. It's like, if I were to take a sponsor on, let's say, I don't know, a game on Gala that's releasing, and I actually enjoy the game, that's perfectly fine. The thing is, it blurs a little bit when you start going, oh, you should buy all these NFTs, and you should go ahead and interact with this ecosystem, and then you should do this and that, and, you know, that's when it gets a little bit blurry. But for the most part, like, you see any regular gaming videos, and they go, Raid Shadow Legends. You guys really think they like Raid Shadow Legends that much? They probably don't enjoy playing Raid Shadow Legends. They just are giving a sponsorship slot to someone. So do take that for note. But anyway, maybe less revenue short term could mean a bigger audience long term. We could do, this is an interesting one. We could do a final $240,000 payment after the current contract ends in March. 1 year of our current contract and enough to keep my full team and new language dubbing teams in the black for the next 12 months. It will officially be for one final sponsored video, and I will announce in that video that On-Chain Gaming is officially ending our partnership with Gala Games so I can ensure honest coverage of the crypto gaming space going forward. I personally promise you that we will over-deliver on content amount and quality covering Gala over the 12 months as a completely independent studio, continuing to prove and grow like we have covering Gala for the past 2 years. Okay, I want to touch base on this one really quick. If you take a payment for $240,000, there's a level of bias there. And if you say you're going to over deliver and give Gala, you know, value for the amount of money that they've given you, you're essentially saying, hey, can I have the same money I was getting paid before? And I'll pretty much be making similar content, but I'll just be talking about tokens more. You know, I'll just say this is going to 100x so I get more views. Here's the problem with this. You know, I can make videos tomorrow going, oh, Gala's going to go to the moon. Gala's going to 100x tomorrow. And I guarantee you without a shadow of a doubt, my views overnight will 3, 4, 5x. I'll be getting 10,000 views a video. No problem at all. It will happen. However, here's the big problem with doing that. This is a gaming channel. I mean, it's classy games for a reason. The entire purpose of this channel is to go ahead and push games forward. And what you're attracting when you're saying that the token's going to go 100x, all you're attracting is speculators and investors on a token. You're not, you know, attracting people that are going to interact with an ecosystem and actually, you know, play these games. You're going to attract a bunch of investors. And sure, you know, for ROI speaking, you might actually get something good for that. But it just doesn't make sense long term, you know, trying to get a bunch of investors on an ecosystem over and over, and then nobody's pushing for gameplay. There's a big reason on this channel why we decided to axe a lot of our views, because we wanted to push forward the gaming space, and why we've begun to show more gameplay, and why we've begun to do this and that. People would be like, oh, but Classy, clearly you have something with the Gala token, and, you know, like, you want the Gala token to go to the moon as well. The honest truth, if you want me to be 150 million% honest, this is how much Gala I own. I own, like, I think this is what, like $100 worth of Gala? I don't even know how much Gala this is. I think it's even less. It's like $50 or something like that. I don't own a lot of Gala, and this might be a shock to some people, but I interact with ecosystems. I love the Gala Games ecosystem. I love Spider Tanks. I played a lot of Spider Tanks, trust me. And that's why we cover a lot of Spider Tanks. If I was interested in other games, which there will be other games that come out, but, you know, unfortunately for us, we're kind of in this position where PokerGo plays still in beta. You know, Eternal Paradox is in development. Townstar, I mean, I'm sorry for the people on Townstar. I respect it. I respect the hustle. I respect everything in Townstar. You know, I love the community for Townstar. I just don't enjoy playing the game. It's as simple as that. Hopefully there will be updates in the future that entice me to play Townstar. Maybe there's like a Townstar Forever, which I've heard people start to speculate on, where you'll be able to upgrade your base over time. I'd probably play that. Like if it was like SimCity, I'd 100% be interested in that. And then there's Superior, which, I mean, I've played pretty much all the content on Superior. I don't really feel like playing Superior. It's not my genre. I was League of Legends Challenger. I know people are like, oh, Classy, you're just flexing here. But the reason I want to say that is because I played a lot of League of Legends. Like, I am hyper obsessed over League of Legends. Spider Tanks is the same exact genre. That's why I'm so interested in Spider Tanks. So, you know, there's a rationale behind it. I want people to understand that this channel is not meant to pump the Gala token. It's meant to attract the gamers to Web3 gaming, because there are actually people out there that enjoy playing video games. I know that might be insane, but here's something interesting that ended up happening after all this entire situation. KG actually went ahead and went on Twitter and started voicing some of his concerns on Gala Games. This is very important because, you know, this is a critical point in Gala Games' history. There's a couple big things to note here that will be important. So the first thing you should probably know is that excuse me. I almost said Last Expedition. Anyway, going back here, Legends Reborn is a, you know, collectible card game, and this card game was being developed by Kung Fu Factory. Kung Fu Factory is shutting down. It's no longer a thing. And so a lot of people started getting scared. They're like, oh, we're about to get rogged. Everybody start freaking out. And, you know, why are they still selling creature packs and epic creature packs? That is ridiculous. We don't know the certainty of what's happening here. So, KG went on to Twitter and he went like, bro, like, this isn't cool. Like, you can't be doing that. However, I mean, some people will say I'm drinking the juice, right? Like, I'm heavily biased and that I don't know what's going on. I do know what's going on. You know, I do speak with the Gala Games team. I do, like, try to triple clarify over things. So if I'm saying something, it's probably because I've done my research on it and I understand what's happening internally. But overall, here's the thing. You know, Legends Reborn, we don't know where it's going to go, but here's what Bitbender's saying. If the game is not delivered in a form in which people can use their NFTs, everyone gets refunded. Here's a very clear one here. There isn't a timeline on this, but the game for those NFTs will be released. Look at this, will be released. So when I was talking about the fact that we should probably calm down about the Legends Reborn FUD, I wasn't doing it from, you know, someone that's completely delusional standpoint. I was doing this in the sense that you should probably give Gala Games time for their lawyers to do their jobs and make sure that this game gets continued development. That's essentially what I was trying to say on a tweet. And maybe that's what I'm trying to say still. You know, it's important to give Gala Games the time to be able to explore the options that they're exploring to continue the development of Legends Reborn, because it gets complicated. Lawyers need time. You already know what lawyers like to do. Take as much time as possible to milk it out. And this is interesting because they talked about Fuzzles here. Even the Fuzzle thing is a totally different scenario. By the way, context here, Fuzzle was a game on Gala that ended up leaving Gala. They were quote-unquote failed. And here is what they said. Just because we didn't fund Endless further and they had problems doesn't mean we aren't doing everything we can to support Fuzzles. This is something I'm personally involved in advancing, so it's good to hear that. It's super important to note that we can't guarantee every business we come close to will succeed. Stuff fails all the time. But everything we work with, we do try to support. The Blue Realm is another good example of this. Yeah, the Blue Realm was a little spicy with 888, but they are trying to go ahead and further this, and this is good to hear. You know, it's important. And Keiki here talking about the fact, in my opinion, because you guys are the ones bringing in the games, at the minimum, every sub before the game is out should be guaranteed refunds if the game never comes out. And 100% I agree. If it comes out and it has no traction, it is what it is. I know it's not all black and white, but it's maybe something to consider. And I agree with Keiki. I think Keiki is hitting it on the dot here. I think he's giving a wonderful, honest take on the space. I think it's important to hold people accountable. And it's important to tell them, bro, like, you should probably refund people if you're not actually going to be coming out with the game, which I do 100% agree with. And there it is. You know, he's going on the fact that SLP to $1. Now it's Gala to $1. Brand new narrative. We're all happy again. But overall, it's like we're going to be dealing with this the entire bear market. There's a lot of different terms of service things that are coming out. And if you wanted my honest opinion on Gala Games, I don't see, this might be a controversial take here, but I don't see Gala Games as a Web3 gaming company. I don't know if everybody's seen this yet, but like, Gala Games as an ecosystem is very centralized. Like, if we look at all the different games on Gala, these are all extremely centralized games that are going to be coming out with their extremely centralized in-game economies. If you go to the Gala Games ecosystem, the fact that you could purchase things with a credit card, I mean, it makes it Web 2, I guess, maybe Web 2.5 at most. But a lot of the strategies that they're employing are very Web 2-esque. So maybe it's not Web 3 yet, and maybe it's not as decentralized as people might want it to be, which this is the thing. Like, I don't hate Jake for doing these videos, right? Clearly, Jake sees Gala Games in a different way than Gala Games is. And that's a big problem with relationships sometimes. Like, you just see a part of someone that you wish you would see, but it just never ends up happening. And I feel like that's what's exactly happening with Jake and Gala Games. The relationship is soured because Jake's vision of what Gala Games should be, a fully decentralized metaverse where people earn everything in a game, it just isn't what Gala Games is. And that's perfectly fine. And I really wish Jake the best of luck. I really hope he comes back here, and maybe he's not covering Gala Games here, but he's just covering the things he loves, because I know he's a very passionate creator. I know that he really loves what he's doing, and I'm sure he's going to put out bangers in the future that will benefit our space. And overall, we need to stick together no matter what. You know, I've had phases where I've pretty much blown up in the space, like mental booming. I mean, I made videos saying, oh, I'm selling all my axes and this and that. While it was a very good decision, you know, like, it just doesn't really further the space too much. It's a big reason why I ended up leaving that channel, and I understand why On-Chain Gaming is taking these long breaks, because I literally went through the same thing. But if, Jake, you're listening to this, we mean no harm. You know, we just want you to come back if you understand the true vision of it. It is what it is. If you don't agree with it, if your vision isn't aligned, if you don't agree with the way this is going, then at the end of the day, you should probably just move on here, because at the end of the day, we're here to play some games, right? We are here to play some games. We're not just here to invest into things. We're here to maybe invest into some things if you're a crypto native like me, but you're also here to play these video games and enjoy them. Because at some point, Gala will move on from this whole world where there's no full-on Gala chain and there's no full-on dedicated launchers, and it's really hard to get user acquisition. That's all developing, right? That's all going to change. I talk to Gala very often, and trust me when I say I'm here to look after my audience, and I'm here to look after every single person that is holding something on Gala Games. So let me know your thoughts in the comments section. Until the next time, stay classy, and that's all.